The story of this trail, in a nutshell, is this. First of all, I had a devil of a time even finding the trail. When I did find it, what I discovered was a painfully narrow path, roots and potholes, trailside trash, and road crossings with next-level traffic to fight. We were looking at a serious contender for worst trail of 2025. But I just kept going. And the payoff was a long pier offering beautiful views of the Ashley River that I enjoyed as I watched a dolphin play. You can't make this stuff up. Persevere, my friends. Persevere. Okay, that's it for this one. Good night and drive safely. I'm just kidding. I will add some meat to the bones of this bike trail story if you'll just stay tuned. Also, a fun and unusual installment of Responding to Comments is coming up a little later. But first, this is Charleston, South Carolina. Charlestown became the first comprehensively planned town in the original 13 colonies. Early immigrant groups to the city included the Scottish, Irish, and Germans, and the Charleston Jewish community was the most prominent and wealthiest in North America. The economy was driven by rice, deerskins, timber, and tobacco. Charleston was a major slave trading port early on. Almost one-half of enslaved people imported to the United States arrived in Charleston. At the same time, Native Americans kidnapped and enslaved each other in warfare. From 1680 to 1720, approximately 40,000 American Indians were sold through the port, principally to the West Indies. The Low Country planters did not keep enslaved Native Americans, considering them too prone to escape or revolt. Fast forward to the election of Abraham Lincoln. That's when the South Carolina General Assembly voted to declare secession from the United States, becoming the first state to do so. Near the end of the war between the states, the march of Sherman's army through South Carolina prompted the Confederates to evacuate Charleston in 1865. Burning the public buildings, cotton warehouses, and other sources of supply before their departure. U.S. soldiers liberated the city within the month. After the war, there was violent intimidation of blacks and Republicans by conservative Democrat paramilitary groups. Yikes. On June 17, 2018, the Charleston City Council apologized for its role in the slave trade and condemned its inhumane history. While I can appreciate the intentions behind such a thing, none of those city council members were alive when the slave trade was going on, so I don't really understand how that fixes anything. Charleston languished economically until a large federal military presence in the region and tourism helped shore up the city's economy. Speaking of tourism, the Battery, a historic defensive seawall and promenade located at the tip of the peninsula, along with White Point Garden, a park featuring several memorials and Civil War-era artillery pieces, they attract a steady stream of visitors to this historically consequential city. Famous people from Charleston include a Vice President of the United States by the name of John C. Calhoun, former comedian and current late-night Democrat hack Stephen Colbert, NFL player and head coach Art Shell, and star receiver for the Georgia Bulldogs and Cincinnati Bengals, A.J. Green. But enough about slavery, war, and football. We've got a trail to ride. Not to be confused with the West Ashley Greenway, this is the West Ashley Bikeway. In Charleston, South Carolina. Let's go.
I ain't got no money the first week of the month. Right up into orbit, I chase the only bound. A lanyard thinks a problem, rent being overdue. What possible solution? I haven't got a clue. But at the end of the day, it's all that matters. Oh, I pray just to feel good at the end of the day. All that I can claim. Now, I ain't got a single penny to my name. My neighbor says he's bothered by what I cannot see. He says that I can launder falls what clothes should be. But at the end of the day, it's all that matters. Oh, I pray just to feel good at the end of the day. At the end of the day, at the end of the day, yeah, it's all that I pray just to feel good at the end of the day. At the end of the day, you gotta feel good at the end of the day. It's all that matters. Oh, I pray just to feel good at the end of the day.
You know, if I could ask just 3 things of you right now. Number 1 would be to like this video, whether you like it or not. Number 2, leave a comment if you can think of anything to say. And number 3, what was number 3? Oh yeah, number 3 is stay tuned for responding to comments and the exclusive Joyful Trails star rating. Those are yet to come. All right, now about this trail. You see, what happened was, on maps, the West Ashley Bikeway appears to be connected to the West Ashley Greenway. It just veers off in a diagonal line from the longer and more inviting Greenway. I've already posted a video on the West Ashley Greenway, and I will link to it in the description box below and place a card above. But yeah, West Ashley Greenway and West Ashley Bikeway. That's not confusing at all, right? So, while on the Greenway back in February, I said, hey, I'm going to check out the Bikeway. But it wasn't exactly connected. In fact, it was several blocks away, through a neighborhood and across a very busy 4-lane. And I started looking around and just couldn't seem to locate a trailhead. Even busted out my phone to get some help from All Trails. Finally, I figured out where the trail began. No sign, no parking, no trailhead, no fanfare, just this. I was like, this can't be it. You've got to be kidding me. But I started riding down this incredibly narrow asphalt path with lots of bumps along the way. until I got to a place where the trail began to widen a bit. It was here that I decided I must be on the right path. Now, there were ducks, and there was signage, and there was a small pond with a shade structure pondside. That was nice. There was also a cool but short footbridge leading to some basketball courts. And this lone piece of art. This big, somewhat odd-looking flower. So those are your points of interest, ladies and gentlemen. As for the rest of the trail, well, let's just go to the interwebs and see what online trail link reviewers had to say. Very rough, unsafe pavement. Doesn't feel safe. There are no restrooms. Goes through some seedy neighborhoods. And I wouldn't put it past the fact that drug activities may occur there from reports I have seen. Now, I gotta say, I never felt unsafe when I was on this trail. I think a lot of people are just kind of, super sensitive these days and paranoid. This 5.5 mile out and back trail does link several suburban Charleston neighborhoods, giving locals a great outlet for outdoor exercise. But man, it takes a beating on Al Gore's internet. TrailLink talks about its poor maintenance and difficult surface, and mentions the traffic issues that you run into trying to cross, quote, busy 4-lane St. Andrews Boulevard without benefit of a light or crosswalk. They say, quote, use extreme caution when crossing. Over on All Trails, we get this glowing review from a trail user. Within the first half a mile, I ended up turning around and returning to my car. Lots of trash everywhere, and I think there are homeless people living in the surrounding woods. I would have continued if I wasn't by myself, but did not feel safe. There's that feel safe thing again. Did not feel safe continuing on my own. Another trail user says, be cautious for tree roots under and above asphalt trail, not easily marked for starting points. You can say that again. But hey, once you figure out how to successfully play Frogger and get past the busy traffic, things do get better. I noticed that the trail just seemed to get more pleasant and peaceful. I looked off to the right, and I thought I saw water in the distance. I did see water. TrailLink puts it this way. The end of the trail cuts through marshland along a tree-lined corridor that takes trail users out to Higgins Pier. This end of the trail is a dead end. But what a beautiful, wonderful, pleasant little dead end it is. I was delighted, so glad I had not given up and turned around. So, beautiful views of the river abound from the Higgins Pier. And I even saw a dolphin playing. Are you kidding me? There just aren't many bike trails that offer dolphin sightings as a bonus, or even as a possibility.
Responding to comments.
Several months ago, Ashley Bagwell, aka Sugar Patch Maker, shared with us a story of needing to relieve herself while out on a trail, and how difficult that can be for the ladies, and how you women should always carry toilet paper. It was a kind of an embarrassing story that ended up being a funny story, and okay. So, in response, @Tobin Bushman writes, "Women can stand up and urinate." What? Yes, my wife does it all the time. When hiking and biking, with a device called a pee funnel. One brand name is Freshette. Maybe you could get them to sponsor some of your videos. You know, there are several things that come to mind, things I would like to say, but I'm afraid if I say any of them, I may get demonetized or even kicked off YouTube. My man talking about maybe they could sponsor the channel. Yeah, that's exactly what I want to be known as, the pee funnel guy on on YouTube.
This has been Responding to Comments.
So what do we think about this trail? Why should you ride the West Ashley Bikeway in Charleston? Well, you shouldn't. I mean, there is some decent signage here and there. Charleston is very consistent with logos and branding and such, being careful to pay tribute to certain historical facts and details. And hey, I really thought that floating dock on the river and my little dolphin friend might be enough to pull this trail out of the doghouse and give it a respectable rating. But at the end of the day, the trash, the traffic, and the overall sketchiness of this trail doomed it to a rating of 2 stars. However, here's what you do. Now listen, go to Charleston, enjoy the history of this delightful city, and ride the West Ashley Greenway and the Arthur Ravenel Jr. Bridge. Then go and ride just the last leg of the West Ashley Bikeway. You know, just the part that takes you out over the water to visit with Flipper. That is the only way you should approach this trail until further notice. What's the moral of the story? Well, a few time-tested sayings come to mind. Don't judge a book by its cover. You can't always go by first impressions. And all's well that ends well. I will see you next time, bro. Now get out there and find some joy in the journey. Okay? Okay.